Good evening. I'm Nemani Jalembetiki of the Fiji Sun. Welcome to Fiji's first TV editorial show. In my say tonight, I will expand on some of the issues on media freedom raised in the For the Record that preceded this program. There's been a lot said about media freedom in this country, coinciding with World Press Freedom Day, celebrated on May the 3rd. Media freedom is all our freedom. When people attack media freedom, they attack all our freedom because media freedom is an important pillar of democracy. Journalists must be allowed to freely do their work. Last year, 3 of our female journalists from FBC, Fiji TV and Fiji Sun were attacked outside the Super Court by members of the public. As far as the Fiji Sun case is concerned, we have not heard what had happened to the suspect after a complaint was lodged with the police. Journalists have a legitimate and lawful role to play in our democracy. Anyone who tries to stop a journalist from carrying out his or her work is breaking the law. Journalists must be allowed to work in an environment that is free and without fear or intimidation. We should condemn all acts of violence, threat, and intimidation against journalists. Journalists have responsibilities also that come with media freedom. There is no such a thing as absolute freedom. It's the same in many democracies around the world. There are laws that are there to protect people. The defamation law is a classic example. It gives people the right to sue a journalist if they feel they have been defamed. Journalists here are required to adhere to a code of ethics that is incorporated in the media decree. There is nothing new in the code because it was adopted from the practices of the past. I want to say categorically that we enjoy media freedom in Fiji, that journalists are free to do their job. There seems to be a perception that there is no media freedom or that the media is restricted. That is not true. If it was true, we would not have a robust media today that includes 2 daily newspapers, a number of magazines, a host of radio stations, and 3 television stations operating in a very competitive media environment. The fear is a hangover from the days of the censors in the newsroom. Those days are long gone, and I'd like to encourage all journalists to go out and do their job. Parliament has also repealed the penalty provision for journalists in the decree. If journalists follow the basic rules of journalism, that their stories are accurate, fair and balanced, and in the public interest, there is nothing to worry about. We all need to be grateful and build on what we have today. It's a far cry from those dark days when journalists worked under immense pressure during the height of the political upheaval. Media freedom should not be viewed purely by what's happening now, but it should be taken into context with what has happened since 1987. We should all do whatever we can within our power that we do not go back to 1987. We know what happened in 1987. A lot of people were hurt and the economy went into a tailspin. Racial and religious division and disharmony plunged the country into a serious political crisis. Only a minority benefited from the turmoil that ensued. The first and subsequent coups just prolonged the agony. The barriers that divided us and bred the prejudices and racism have now gone. We now have a constitution that for the first time eliminates racial segregation. We now have equal citizenry and common identity. This provision outlaws discrimination on the basis of ethnicity, religion, color of skin, physical conditions, gender, and sexual orientation. These are universal principles that are strongly rooted in many religious beliefs, including Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism. Everyone is equal before the civil law and God's law. But the events of 1987 clearly breached the law on both fronts. One of the responsibilities of the media today is to report and articulate issues to help people make responsible decisions so that there is no repeat of 1987 and the subsequent coups. The media cannot operate in isolation and say, that's not our responsibility. Anything that incites racial and religious tension is obviously not good for us. Again, I reiterate that while the media enjoys this freedom, it also has an important responsibility to protect and defend democracy and all the principles enshrined in our Constitution. The media is an essential stakeholder in our quest for peace, tolerance, stability, and prosperity. This is Nemani Njalematiki of the Fiji Sun. That was my say tonight. For more of my views, you can read the Fiji Sun. See you next week.